What's going on, YouTube? You know I love you. You know I love it. And I appreciate all the support you guys have given me on that SMG build. It's been about 3 days, and it's already hit 10,000 views. Now, to build that up, here is my AR build. But, like always, if you enjoy this video, make sure you mash that like if you are new to the channel, subscribe for more content, and if you have any questions at all, hit me up in the comments section below. But like I said, this is my AR build. This is a no nerf AR build, so there will be no nerfs within this build with Title Update 3. And in fact, I will have buffs with Title Update 3 because they are going to buff the overall damage of all assault rifles. So even after the Title Update 3, this build will actually be stronger, which is a huge plus. Now this is a 510 gear score, and I am running the Survivalist Specialization. I'm using this Survivalist Specialization mainly for the pure raw damage that it gives assault rifles. Now, without looking at anything or going into it, I have the MK16, Chatterbox, and a normal pistol. Going from the brand sets, I have no matches. They are all different. So with the Wyvern mask, 511 backpack, Araldi gloves, Murakami chest piece, Fenris holster, and Gilligard knee pads. Now, if you are looking at the talents, you can already see I have hard hitting on 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Hard hitting is the fist icon, and that means 15% damage to elites. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, so that is 60% damage to elites right then and there. Then you have the 3 projectile looking symbol. That is devastating, so I have weapon damage. On the backpack you see the little dots making its own symbol that is called hardened. That gives me more armor. And finally, Wicked kind of looks like an owl, and that gives me an extra 10% weapon damage to all enemies under a status effect. So why I go ahead and point this out in the beginning is that when I'm going through this build, you can already see that I am stacked into damage to elites, and I am stacked into armor. And as you can see right there in front of you, I'm already above 230 on the armor, and I'm just below 50k on the health. Now, going into the weapons, I chose the Chatterbox as my secondary, not only because it gives rate of fire to my AR, but it also does quite a bit of damage. Now, the talent that I'm referring to, giving the rate of fire, is called the Blabbermouth talent. That is under your Chatterbox. So you run this as your secondary, and while it is holstered, reloading your weapon within 5 seconds after a kill grants you a 20% rate of fire buff for 10 seconds. So I don't even have to use the Chatterbox, even though it is sitting at 12.5k base damage, which isn't bad when I'm not even using SMG buffs. So that's pretty good, and it gives you that nice holstered talent for when you're not using it. Now, like I said earlier, this is the MK16. I am using the tactical MK16. This version gives you a base damage of 23k. Now, the talents I'm running on it, Ranger, Allegro, and Rooted. Now, Ranger gives you that extra weapon damage for every 5 meters you are from the target. Allegro gives you that rate of fire buff. And then Rooted, while equipped and in cover, all skill damage and healing is increased by 25% for 10 seconds. All great talents to have. Of course, I'd rather have Stop, Drop, and Roll or In Rhythm as my final talent, but it is what it is. Now, with Allegro active, it brings my RPMs for the tactical MK16 up to 688. Now, with the base damage already being at 23k and upping that rate of fire, I'm only increasing my DPS. Now, the weapon mods I use for this MK16: damage to elites on the scope, extended mag for the magazine, laser pointer for the underbarrel, and a muzzle brake for the muzzle. Now this gives me 5 damage to elites, some critical chance, more rounds, and more damage to elites. So I am in fact hyping up my damage to elites another 10% just from my weapon mods. So if your damage to elites number on your character sheet is a little bit lower than mine, then you might want to check out your weapon mods. Looking at the sidearm, nothing special. X45, 27.4k base, has breadbasket, jazz hands, and rooted. Now going into the actual gear. Like I said, all 6 gear items are different brand sets. Starting off with the mask, Wyvern Wear mask, 20.5k base armor. The one set of Wyvern Wear gives me a critical hit damage buff of 7%. The attributes under the mask: 41% damage to elites. 41. That is how my damage to elites is so high. I have 41%, and if you look, it's not modified. So as a normal roll on Wyvern Wear mask, I got 41% damage to elites. Now with the talent, hard hitting, gives me another 15. So I have 56% damage to elites just on the mask. Huge. Now the other attribute is skill power, but obviously I'm wearing this mask solely for that damage to elites. Going on to the backpack, 511 tactical backpack, 42.3k base, armor. The one item from the brand set of 511 gives me 5% protection from elites. The attributes: crit chance, weapon damage, and skill power. Now the talents, like I said earlier, hard hitting, giving me more damage to elites, and hardened, 10% more armor. Now the mod I am using for the backpack, it is a offensive system mod slot. So for that I went ahead and went with a weapon damage and assault rifle damage mod, which brings up my weapon damage bonus and my assault rifle damage bonus. Going down to the gloves, we have the Araldi Holdings gloves. This is 514 gear score, 21.2k base armor. The attribute: 11% assault rifle damage. This one did come with 10. I was lucky to find one with 11 so that I could recalibrate it and give it that 514 gear score. And these gloves came with Wicked, 10% damage to status affected enemies. So with the specialization that I am running, I get fire grenades, which give a status effect. And you can also use special ammo. Other people will be using maybe fire turrets or some sort of skill that puts them under a status effect. So this Wicked talent actually comes into handy more than you would think. You can get Devastating on here for that 5% weapon damage, but I think right here, subtracting the 5% overall and then giving me that 10% boost to all enemies that have status effects, I think is a pretty good one. It is a little situational, but in the end, it'll give you that extra buff. Going to the chest piece, I have Murakami Industries chest piece, 515 on the gear score, 43.8k on the base armor. Attributes, health, weapon damage, and headshot damage. And then the talent I am running on this chest piece is hard hitting, damage to elites. Now this chest piece comes with 2 mod slots, one being a defensive protocol, the other one being generic. So for the defensive protocol, I went ahead with the health choice. So it brought my health up nearly 4,000. And then for the generic, I went ahead for a total armor mod. The Firefly skill power isn't really anything to worry about, but the 4.5% total armor is a huge deal. So if you do have those generic mods that have the total armor on them, I would definitely hold on to them. Going on to the holster, I have a Fenris group holster, 515 on the gear score, 29.9k on the base armor, attributes, skill power, and critical hit chance. The talent on the holster, devastating, giving you that 5% weapon damage. Devastating is a must on the holster to get your base damage and your just overall damage in general up. So yeah, look for devastating on the holster. And finally, the knee pads, Gilligard knee pads. 513 on the gear score, 26.1k on the base armor. Now, if you remember, Gilligard gives you that total armor buff of 5%. The attribute, 9,172 additional armor. And the talent hard hitting gives you 15% damage to elites. Now, the Gilligard knee pads come with 2 talents. I threw 2 generic mods in there, one being for 6% optimal range. The marksman rifle part doesn't really matter. I threw that on there strictly for the range. I am running Ranger on my assault rifle, so the more range I have for the assault rifle, the more damage I could potentially do. And the other generic system mod, this one is also for assault rifle damage and weapon handling. And that is the gear items. We went through the weapons, so let's go through the stats. So when we pass through all of our talents, remember all of our talents are active. We don't have any talents that are inactive. And we go straight to the weapons page. Now remember, this is for my tactical MK16. Now my MK16 does over 23k base damage. The critical hit chance is at 19%. The crit hit damage is at 32%. Headshot damage 62%. Go to the offensive tab. We have 5.5 on the weapon handling, 16.5 on the all weapon damage bonus, and 41 assault rifle damage bonus. 41. So if you compare that with your weapon damage bonus, that is over 57.5% damage bonus. Huge. Now if you go down a little bit further, you'll see damage to elites. I am at 111% damage to elites. This weapon will one-clip any elite NPC. Just name it, and this thing will one-clip it. Go down to the defensive tab. We have over 230,000 armor. We have just under 49k health. And it is insane. 653 skill power across the board except for the Firefly, but that doesn't really matter. And then it goes down to your Dark Zone perks. And there you have it, you guys. That is my no Nerf assault rifle build. It is with the tactical MK16 sitting at 23k base damage with Ranger and Allegro. Remember to have that chatterbox as your secondary, get that RPM up, and have a good day. Like always, you guys, it's your boy, Kamikazevondoom here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.